Hello and welcome to the Thesideescape Gaming Podcast, episode 71. I'm your host, Jake Burke, and joined, as always, by James St. Charles and our forever rotating third guest, our guest host, the guy we bring in every week because he's got the hottest takes, Ted Theodore Libby. How are you guys? You guys recorded a show without me. How'd you feel?
You know what? It felt right. That's what I'll say.
Fuck you.
Right, Ted?
Felt good. It did feel good.
I'm going to start right there. Fuck both of you guys. It wasn't that good. It was missing some energy. I'm going to be honest.
You know what? It missed one thing.
What?
The episode number.
The episode number. Nobody knows what episode it is.
We know in our hearts.
And do you want to know what I know something about this episode, James. I know what number it is.
What is it?
Because this is the 71st episode of the Thesideescape Gaming Podcast, where every Monday morning a new episode goes live on YouTube. And nowhere else. It's just YouTube. If we want to go to Spotify. The people haven't asked for it yet, you know what I'm saying?
Put it on Spotify.
You know, it's Spotify's fault. It's so awful to search for podcasts on Spotify.
I know, it's not great. Except for Joe Rogan, which you can watch the video on.
That's it.
That's it. Once a week, we Discord over 500 miles to talk about a video game-related topic and what games we are playing. This week, we are going to talk about Nintendo's September Direct, and we're going to review Deathloop. James and I have beaten Deathloop. We've broken the loop.
Yes,
Ted hasn't.
Loop's been broken.
Ted hasn't. Ted's stuck
And
in the
protected.
loop.
I protected the loops a couple times.
I want to talk to you a lot about protecting the loop, but we're not going to talk about that yet. Because, James, I got a news item for you. I got a hot news alert. Okay?
Just in breaking news.
Breaking news. In episode 70 of the Thesideescape Gaming Podcast, Ted Libby wanted to know why Fortnite's currency is called V-Bucks. And I got the answer. In the single-player version of Fortnite, the original version of Fortnite before the Battle Royale.
Fortnite Save the World.
Fortnite Save the World. There is a character called Dr. Vinderman. He is the creator of Vinder Tech. He's created many storm-fighting machines, and one of his creations was the Vinder Tech Buck, shortened to V-Buck. And that
He made money.
Came over.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Can you still play Fortnite Save the World?
I was going to ask that. I was going to wonder if anybody knew, and if you could play as your skins from the Battle Royale.
I have no idea. I know that game was bad. People didn't like it.
Yeah, Fortnite was bad when it first came out. However, that.
Isn't that crazy? We're going to go on a tangent, but isn't that crazy that Fortnite started as like a horde mode kind of defense game?
Yeah.
And it became the most popular Battle Royale.
It was after it was like a Dungeon Defenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like H1Z1 was more like zombie focused, and then it opened up to the Battle Royale.
Yeah, I always think that's so crazy.
Yeah.
People still play H1Z1? Is that so popular?
Yeah, it's still good.
All
It's
right.
not as popular as like PUBG is, like when you look at the charts, but it's still...
H1Z1 added a car battle royale where 4 people get in the same car, and you can only be in a car. And
Well, I was telling Jake about the
cool.
Forza battle royale mode that there is around. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Gunnar used to play it.
The Fortnite or the Forza Battle Royale is so interesting. I've watched people play it. It's bizarre.
Just make a battle royale out of anything.
I know, right? I'm ready for it.
Basically,
I'm ready for like
Tetris, all those ones.
That's what I'm ready for.
The Mario and
yeah. They have a Tetris Battle Royale. They have a Mario Battle Royale, a Zelda Battle Royale. They got it all.
really, what's the Zelda battle royale?
I think it's a Zelda one. Isn't it where you play like the first level of Zelda? Like
No, they have
No?
a Pac-Man battle royale.
The Mario one is like you play like a level.
that's what it is. I'm thinking
You
Mario.
keep playing, but like a Zelda would be awesome.
That's right. It was rumored to come out for the 35th and it just never
Yes,
did. That's what it
yes,
was.
because the Mario one came out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who would have wanted to play that one? Speaking of Nintendo, James, we're talking about the Direct, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's going to go, I'm going to rattle off just kind of the announcements. Stop me if you have something to say about them. Sound good? All right.
Sounds good.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Coming
I love
spring
Kirby.
20...
Hell yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Why
Yeah,
not?
Oh, God.
Kirby's
I-
great.
I like Kirby. Yeah, he's a fun, adorable character.
My thought while watching this trailer was, who the fuck gives a shit about Kirby?
Oh
You know,
my!
bro, I love
You never
Kirby.
played Nightmare Dreamland on your Game Boy Advance and
I was
just had
gonna
a
say,
fucking
like,
blast?
I think their best Kirby run was on the Game Boy Advance. But
Yeah, it was
screw it. That was a great game.
amazing.
Great
It looks...
animated Saturday morning cartoon.
This game looks
Crash
exactly
and-
like
oh yeah, Kirby cartoon.
Super Mario Odyssey, but Kirby. It looks very similar
yeah.
to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? That works. So I'll take it.
Yeah, right. Okay, I'll give you it. 2022 spring. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the open world is.
It's one of the first open world. I don't want to say that. Is it one of the first open world Kirby games?
I don't know.
Probably.
The 64 ones weren't too open world, right?
No, they had like levels at the end, like a score screen, because you'd run.
Someone correct me in the comments.
I remember you'd walk
kept
with
up.
your party in the score screen of the game. For
What were the Wii Kirby games? There was like Air. Wasn't there like an Air
I
one?
literally don't know. I
Okay,
do not know.
I am
I
not
don't know.
current on
There
Kirby.
was
I don't know if they
Mario
were open
Smash
world.
Bros. Brawl. Wii Kirby game.
Speaking of Super Smash Bros., Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Final DLC character will be revealed in early October, and they stopped the direct to tell you that.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing will also get a direct in October.
That's
There you
kind
go.
of cool though. I mean, it's gonna be a free announcement, right? Or
Yeah.
is there gonna be some DLC?
For Animal Crossing, they said
Free
DLC
update?
and a free mode. Yeah, so
Cool.
who knows if the DLC is paid for or not. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the original game, will make its way to Switch this November by Aspire, which I think is really funny. They're doing the old port and the new port.
Yep.
Castlevania Advance Collection brings 4 classic Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games to the Nintendo Switch. The
Also
collection,
PC.
Oh, and PC. There you go.
Yes.
I think it's actually on everything.
It's already out on PC. I don't know if is it already out.
I think
Switch?
it's on PS5 and Xbox and everything, but they announced it for Switch.
It's out. Yeah.
The collection features Castlevania Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow, and Dracula X. Apparently 3 of those are great, and Dracula X is terrible. That's what I've heard.
There's so many other Castlevania games they could have done. What about Symphony of the Night? What about?
Well,
I don't know what.
Symphony of the Night's weird because I don't know if Nintendo can play that game.
Can they
Because
not?
it was published by Sony,
PlayStation.
right?
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it is on Xbox. I don't know.
Yeah.
Be weird.
I don't
Who
know the
knows?
license.
I don't either. ActRaiser Resistance is a remastered version of ActRaiser, and it's out now. So if you ever
Yes.
wanted to play ActRaiser, you can. Which that game's crazy. If you've never seen ActRaiser, it is like not an open world, but like a exploration game, 2D side scroller that then you come back and like build your town out. And
Is that how it
made-
was in the original?
Yeah,
Because that's incredible.
yeah.
but
It's
that
like,
the
was
thing.
way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ted, this is for you and I, and probably James. Project Triangle Strategy is now called Triangle Strategy, and it will be
Is it
out.
really?
Yep, it'll be out in March.
Oh my gosh, I missed this.
Yeah, which I think
Yes.
is like
Yeah.
my
They
favorite.
had a little brief.
Yeah, and they
Triangle
like
Strategy.
started the trailer as Project Triangle Strategy, and they're like, and the name will be Triangle Strategy.
That's perfect.
Really?
I'm
That's
awesome.
so in.
Uh,
That's,
Yoki Taro of Square Enix's card RPG game Voice of Cards heads to Switch this October. Looks interesting. Could be good.
Yeah.
Who knows? People like card games. Ted, this one screams you. Chocobo GP brings a Final Fantasy racing game to the Nintendo Switch in 2022.
Beautiful.
yeah, I love chocobos.
Who doesn't, man?
Yeah.
Chocobo in
And
a
you can race
car?
'em.
Chubby little birds.
So bizarre. Bayonetta 3 was shown off, and it has a 2022 release window. What do you think of the gameplay for it, James?
I mean, look fine. At least they showed gameplay,
Oh.
but nothing too like revolutionary.
Looks like
But
Bayonetta.
it looks like Bayonetta. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're getting a Bayonetta 3 game that was announced how many years ago?
Yeah.
So
With Metroid
I've
Prime
missed-
4.
oh god. Okay. Yeah.
I've
We'll
completely
see.
missed the Bayonetta train. This means nothing to me. Should I,
I
go play
yeah,
Bayonetta?
I'm not a Bayonetta fan, so I don't know. Are you, Jake?
No.
Okay, so
Does anyone play those Platinum action games? The like,
No.
what's the other franchise? I can't. Nier Automata and all that. And no.
I mean, I
have-
played a bit
I
of
have
Nier. I haven't played
Plans to
Bayonetta.
play
though.
Nier Automata, but no.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
not-
at
I'm
one
not into
point-
those.
I was interested in the Platinum Transformers game, but I have not touched that game.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Okay, now I think we got the 2 biggest announcements of the Direct, and we can spend as much or as little time on them as possible. First one's got a few bullet points. Let me go through them all. Nintendo Switch Online is getting an expansion pack, which will include N64 and Sega Genesis games. However, they did not announce the release date. It's just sometime in October, and they did not announce the price it will be to upgrade to this. Kind of in flux.
That's what I was concerned about.
Yep. Though Nintendo Switch Online members will soon be able to pre-order N64 controllers and Sega Genesis controllers that will work for your Switch, which is pretty cool.
Remember when Nintendo and Sega were going at it, and Sega had these commercials where it said Sega does what Nintendo don't,
Yep.
and now look at Nintendo. They fucking own Sega.
I know, right?
They're
They got him.
they got 'em.
Who won that battle, Sega?
Yeah.
N64 games at launch will include Super Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Mario Kart
Finally.
64, Star Fox 64, Sin and Punishment, Dr. Mario 64, Mario Tennis 64, Winback, and Yoshi's Story. There you go. Very excited I get to play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on my Switch.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Quick question. So, your prediction? You predicted OOT coming out? Does that count?
I think I predicted it as a collection, but
I think we both did. That's all.
yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see because I predicted 2 other games, and one of them came Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword, yeah.
If Wind Waker comes by the end of the year, I think
That's
we give it to me.
Okay.
Or at least I get like 75% of my prediction. I got 2/3 of a point. Sega Genesis games Oh, sorry, Ted.
There, Super Mario 64, which was a limited time product, is
That
now
made
just
me
available.
laugh so
My-
hard.
Oh.
my sealed copy, which I'm selling for $3,000, message me privately, might not be worth that much anymore. I'm not sure.
You still got Super Mario Galaxy and Sunshine.
That's true. That's true. And Sunshine, which is probably worth the thousands of dollars right there.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Except for that you can buy a bunch of them at Target for like $45 on sale.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, they're not like hard to find. Sega Genesis games will include Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Streets of Rage 2, Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines, Contra Hard Corps, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Golden Axe, Gunstar Heroes, Musha, which I have no idea what that is, Phantasy Star 4, Rise Star, Shining Force, Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master, and Strider. Which people are very excited about that if you were a Sega Genesis fan. That's got a lot of the mainstays on that console.
Some good games.
The service will also get more N64 games in the future, like Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon Snap, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, Mario Golf, Paper Mario, and F-Zero X.
Paper Mario's worth it right there.
I know, right? That's what I thought.
Yep.
That
So Mario Golf.
Mario Golf.
Oh,
Banjo-Kazooie.
that Mario Golf is good too.
Banjo-Kazooie, an Xbox Rare game, which is coming to their service, which I think is pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I've honestly
thoughts?
forgotten that I can play Banjo-Kazooie on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Like it just totally went over my head.
I have it
I think-
downloaded on my Xbox, just sitting there if I ever want to try it.
Yeah.
I think what's great is I feel like they listen to their fans. Like people have been wanting to talk about this, like having some sort of virtual console virtual, and now they're like releasing like a good collection of 64 games that you can play on your Switch, which is great. Also, they're releasing a new controller for like a new N64 controller, which that alone is amazing.
And I
So,
believe it's
well-
Bluetooth, which I think is pretty cool.
That's even
Yeah.
better.
Yes. Bluetooth now works on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
So N64 controllers for quite a while right now have been really like scarce. Like people have been buying them up because the joysticks keep breaking, and
It's because it's
people
the worst
repair 'em.
controller of all time.
True.
It's 'cause
So
it's the
them
most
making new
used
ones like
controller of all time.
this, making actual OEM, like actual Nintendo
Yeah.
ones. We'll see how this goes. I'm excited about that. The Sega controller, they I swear I can find one like for
I have
like
an
cheaper
important
online.
Question: is it a 3-button configuration or a 6-button?
The 3-button, I think, with 3 and then the 2 and then the D-pad.
The
That's
Genesis
the
controller. There's 2 Genesis controllers.
The 6-button is
there's-
the fighting pad one. Like
They're
right?
still making
So-
Genesis games in Brazil. I
believe it's
crazy.
the 3-button configuration.
Yeah, by the version 3, which came out in like 1999, they were making a 6-button configuration. It's like
Weird.
Yeah.
That's
it was 3 like ABC and then 3 on top of that.
Yeah, I believe it's 3-button. Looking at it, I
Okay.
Interesting.
I'll have to look at the
curious.
image
Yeah.
just to make sure.
I think that's a very cool idea that they're doing that for their products, like to have the controllers coming out. And hopefully when they have GameCube games on here, you can just plug your GameCube controller in and
Those controllers are gonna they're gonna go like this though.
make
So
a like a Bluetooth GameCube controller. That seems already what people want.
Mhm.
They seem to be pointing the ship towards just becoming a repertoire of their old games, which they needed.
but don't they have the GameCube ones that they made for Wii U or?
they've made them for Switch. You can plug your GameCube controller
Oh.
on Switch.
You could buy
Or
new
Smash.
ones. Yeah.
So then why would they make more?
They'll probably make a Bluetooth one. They don't have that.
Bluetooth.
Oh, a Bluetooth one. Okay, that's what you're talking. Okay.
Also, to play your GameCube on the Switch requires that dongle. There are cords involved. We live in 2021.
Is it required dongle for the new Switch as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can't use it while undocked. You can only use it while it's in the dock because it has to plug into the back of the dock.
Yeah, it is still the original port, and then that needs to
Yeah,
configure to
yeah.
a USB, and it's kind of a mess given that we live in a world where there's an N64 Bluetooth controller.
It is very weird. It's also very weird that they just keep making Smash Bros. With GameCube controllers. Let's move on, kids. All right, James, I got the biggest announcement ever. Okay? Shigeru Miyamoto himself walked out on this direct, and he said, hey, we're working on a Mario movie. It's going to be great. It comes out next year, 2022. I'm going to announce the cast right now. And we're like, oh, we're ready for this. We're ready for, what's his face? Charles, Martinet, I think is how you say his last
Yes.
name, the
Yes.
voice of many Marios. For him to be the voice of Mario, right? And they said, not so fast. Who's the voice of Mario, Ted?
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. How do you feel about that? A little weird.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I think of Chris Pratt, and it again, they're all voice acting it.
Mhm.
It's not live action, which would be kind of funny if it is. little bit. That would be like a little like Jumanji take.
That would.
But I
would
think
be into
of
that,
Onward, right? Is it Onward?
Yeah.
The Pixar. I can't put his voice to Mario. It just
He
doesn't
was-
work.
He was the star of the Lego Movie's protagonist too.
That
Oh, it
also
is.
doesn't work. But it was the voice. We'll see.
I'm sure he'll be Italian, right? Like he's got to be. I don't know. Now
He does good voices though. I've heard some of his British voice too.
Mario's a weird character to like talk in a sentence because he's like, so it'd be really weird to hear him like
It's like Mickey Mouse.
monologue or something. So hopefully they can change it enough to where it makes some sense. But that's not all. I got a really just wild ass cast for you. Anna Taylor-Joy will play Peach. Charlie
That
Day
fits.
Yeah, it does. Charlie Day will play Luigi, which I'm actually excited for.
Charlie's great.
All right. Jack Black will play Bowser. Keegan-Michael Key will play Toad.
That's perfect.
Seth Rogen will play Donkey Kong, which I think is just fantastic. And then Charles Martinet will voice many characters that will appear in the movie. He's going to have many cameo appearances.
He does a lot of voices, so
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to this.
What
I think this could be great though. I'm actually hopeful.
Yeah, why not?
I hope it's not just a bunch of like really good actors all together and then nothing comes of it. I think this has good direction.
I think Jack Black and Seth Rogen are like...
Jack Black's good.
Jack Black's going to be great in it. But it's a very interesting cast.
So from what I could be totally wrong here. This movie already has come out in Japan. Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
I was reading somewhere.
It's being made by the studio that does like the Minions, Illumination. It's like that Despicable Me Minions studio that's working with them, with Universal.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. I said this last week. If there's a Wario in the sequel to this movie, it needs to be Danny DeVito.
Why can't he? What if he's just in it?
Yeah.
I
What
know.
is it? Glenn Howerton or whatever needs to be
Waluigi.
Waluigi. Like just bring in the Always Sunny cast because that's too perfect.
D can be Daisy and Matt can be
The Peach.
Mac is a hammer bro.
yeah. Dry Bones. That's what I want. I want Dry Bones in the movie.
Got the football helmet.
Oh my god, that'd be so
Runs
cool.
back and forth.
Yep, that'd be great.
I think I'm a Goomba.
I'm excited. I mean, it's about time we had another Mario movie,
Yeah,
right?
you're not a fan of the Bob Hoskins live action?
Bob Hoskins is back.
Yeah, they bring him back.
They need to
from the
bring him
dead.
back.
I think he's dead. I believe so.
I don't know. Probably.
I feel bad if he is or not if he's not. Sorry, Bob. Okay, enough shenanigans. Let's push it all aside. Deathloop. I want to hear how long you've played or estimate if you've beaten it, and then your overarching thoughts, and then we'll kind of dive into what we really think about it. So Ted, I want to start with you because you've played the least.
Yes. Well, I haven't beaten it. I think I've officially put in more than 10 hours. I think I'm at 12 hours. I think if I'm judging my progress based off of the clues, the thing,
The leads, yeah.
I'm a little bit. I'm around the halfway mark.
Okay. And what are your thoughts so far halfway in?
It's refreshing. It's good, but in a way that I wasn't expecting.
Okay. I'm excited to hear what that means.
Yeah.
James, what do you hours wise, if you can estimate, and then
Probably 20 plus for me. Yeah, and then broken the loop and protected the loop, which we could talk about later. But overall thoughts, what an incredible game. Like, to me, at first, I think there's a point where I was like not sure what was going on, and then you get into it. Like, I feel like this game, I had friends play, and at the start they were hesitant because you don't have all your stuff at the start, and they felt really gipped. And I was like, you got to put the effort in. And once you like keep looping, it progresses to like a great point. That's what I think.
It took me a solid 5 or 6 hours to finally get over that initial hump of like, I really don't know what I'm doing, and this is annoying.
Yep.
Because the way it's structured as like the pseudo roguelike.
Roguelite.
Yes. You know, I mean, I don't even think you'd consider it a roguelike. But
you have to consider it a roguelite.
It's just a uniquely driven narrative. There is this whole thing of like, okay, so I'm doing the day, but it doesn't matter, and like none of this matters because I'm not here to beat the game. I'm just here to learn a clue. And I stepped away from this for a few days, and now I come back and I'm just doing a different clue, and I've been to a new area. it's a different time of day. This area looks different. I don't get it. Once you start replaying the game and you're like, oh, this area, I've been here, but it's a different time of day and the balloon is still in the air instead of crashed on the ground. The pieces start to connect and you really start to get into a flow.
Yeah. I beat it. PlayStation doesn't tell you the hours, which I'm kind of bummed about because I wanted to know. I would estimate I was probably around 18 to 20 in beating it. And I absolutely loved it. It's a fantastic game in my opinion. And
can you give myself and the readers of this beautiful magazine a premise?
Yes.
Because I think this is definitely kind of a tough one to sell. It was definitely a tough one for them to market.
And they marketed it a lot. It was around in every thing. Deathloop is a roguelite in the sense of the concept, but then the more you play it, the less it becomes a roguelite, in my opinion. But Deathloop essentially is you play a character named Colt, and you wake up one morning on a beach, and you find yourself trapped in a time loop on the same day on this island where everyone has agreed to live the same day over and over. Yes.
But everyone else on the island believes it is the first day of their...
Because they don't have memories.
Because they don't have memories. The only characters that have memories are you and the woman that is hunting you, Juliana. And your goal as Colt is to go through these 4 areas, through 4 different times of day. And
so wait. Sorry. Just correct you. There's another person, not a living person, but also another person that has memories. Do you know which one?
Oh, yeah. There is, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I don't want to say it's not a spoiler, but it is. There's another entity that also has.
I don't want to correct you, but
yeah, I don't want to correct you.
Actually, Jake, there's one more. Okay,
go. 16 levels.
16 levels, basically. Yeah, kind of. Your goal, your overarching objective, is to assassinate these 7 visionaries, which are these 7 people that establish this time loop, and to assassinate them within one single loop throughout your 4 periods of time throughout the day.
Like one day, yeah.
Yep. At the end of every day, your game your time loop resets to the morning, and you lose everything except what you've put in a currency to keep either a weapon or a slab, which is like a power. Or different like charms that you can put on yourself or your weapons that make yourself better.
Loot.
Yeah.
Yeah, loot.
You basically are gathering a currency throughout the whole...
It's called Residium.
Residium.
Residium. Okay.
Yeah. And it is... I think the concept is very hard to understand until you're, like you said, about 4 or 5 hours in. But I think it's just a game that just grows. The more and more you play it, the more and more you love it. Yeah. And the more hours you put into it in a single chunk, I think the better it feels because you really get into a groove.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be my kind of opinion.
I really liked it. The reason I said I don't think it's a roguelite is because where a roguelite is you're trying to beat a game in one run. This is not a game where you beat it in one run. This is a game where you're playing through the days to learn new things to beat the game. You're basically completing main quest objectives. The game will build out your one day where you kill all 8 people for you. That is not something you have to do. That is not something that you'll be stuck on until you figure it out. And that's why I think it's refreshing in that it's like a non-linear story, but a really good way to do one.
Yes.
Because, and this is kind of where I really enjoyed the game. The beginning of the game is kind of stacked heavily on a few areas. Up dam, 2 A's.
Damn.
And so that level, I'll use that as an example. You play it in the morning, and then you go back and play it in the evening. And over the course of the day, it changes. It starts out normal day, normal morning, everyone's sober. And then in the midday, people start drinking. At the nighttime, people start partying. And so like the map actually changes. So you play through this 4 different schemes of the same map. And you get to bounce around through these 16 different levels, different times a day, and see the progress of a day. It's awesome. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I would say that the strongest part of that like time day management cycle, I guess you'd say, is how you gather information and how the game also tracks it. I think it's like perfectly handholdy. Yeah, like it does hold your hand.
It's the perfect handhold thing.
Yeah.
I really came to appreciate how much it held my hand because I went into this very nervous that I was like, okay, I know that this guy's going to be here in the afternoon. I've got to remember it. I'm never going to remember this. And then the game's like, don't worry about it. Like, we got you. We're go do something else. This is still here in your little like conspiracy theorist
list.
Yeah, like strings. Like, don't worry about it. We'll figure out the strings for you. You just play the game and follow the objectives.
This game would be so difficult if you had to like piece everything together. Like I would have to like be writing so much.
I definitely thought I was gonna have to write stuff down.
Yeah, I was like, oh god, if this is how this is off.
And on the one hand, I was like really excited to play a game where I had to really big brain my way through it, like a puzzle game.
Sometimes some puzzles you do.
But also ultimately, now that I put 11 hours into it, I'm so happy I don't have to do that. That would have been a very different experience. This way, I just get to play the game.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just on that, I think the way that it tracks your progress and where your objectives and how you're able to move from one objective to another based on the time of day or the level you want to go explore, I think is very unique to what a game can do. I don't think there is many games that are like this level and branching out kind of, I'm going to go here in the afternoon, so that opens up these 2 leads.
Right, and it does for me. It sparks that little like, that there's the sense of progress over the day. Stuff happens, which I always love in games. Give me an area, let me revisit an area later in the game that's different now, and you're like, oh, stuff's happened while I was away. This is literally that. I will go to an area at night and find a vehicle crashed into a building, and I'm like, oh, weird. And then I go there in the morning, and that vehicle hasn't crashed yet. And I'm like, oh, okay, something happens here. And so being able to explore the world and kind of see this Clockwork world play out is great. It's unique, it's refreshing, it's really cool.
And just on what you said about Clockwork, I think one of the smartest design choices that I didn't think I got until a few hours in was that the time of day, there is no clock in that time of day. So if you go to a level in the afternoon, it is the afternoon until you leave that level.
Yeah,
and I
there's
think
never
that's
a
like
stress of time.
One of the great design choices this game made of like, it's not a forever clock, it's just sections of the day. It really like lets that exploration, like you're not pressured by your wanting to explore, which I think is very cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ted, you mentioned something earlier when you first talked about the game, and I forget what you said, but it was something I wanted to circle back to.
Okay.
Do you remember what you said when I was like, what are your first impressions? And your first little sentence was something.
It's refreshing.
Maybe that was it. You already talked about why it's refreshing. All right, never mind.
Well, I got more.
I would love to hear your more thoughts.
Yeah. So I really like the overall structure of the game. I also it's refreshing to me. This is a Insomniac game.
No,
Lion.
Arkane.
No,
Arkane.
Arkane.
Arkane Leon. Yeah.
Arkane, or whatever. They're all the same. No, it's not. Arkane game. They've made Dishonored. Some other kind of immersive sims.
Yes.
And every single time in an immersive civ, consistently, they are always given of like, do you want to go loud or do you want to go quiet? And then I make a decision, and then something happens that doesn't go that way, and I go, I'm going to restart this level, and I'm really upset about it. Every single time.
Yep.
I think Dishonored, I got through it by like having to muscle my way through it and be like, okay, this guy died, I'm just going to get through it.
Yeah.
This game doesn't care about that stuff. Nothing matters. In a weirdly fun nihilistic way of like, you can go quiet simply because you don't want to deal with people, and then you go loud and shoot everybody, and then it's fine. Nobody remembers the next day.
Yeah, you can clear out a whole level of enemies.
Yeah. So it's really refreshing in an immersive civ kind of way. And I have not played a lot of this game. You guys might be able to answer this question for me. I don't know if you go loud in the morning, does it make the game tougher at night?
No.
Or does it just not matter at all? Okay.
Does not matter.
Because I have found that to be kind of refreshing in a game like this. For once, my overarching choices throughout the narrative of a game don't necessarily matter, and I appreciate that. This is a breath of fresh air.
I would agree. I think it also on the character of Colt that you play as the protagonist, he has that same mentality of like, if something happens, he has a very like, well, fuck it mentality. Yeah. And I think that like when you come into that moment of like you're trying to stealth something and you miss a shot and someone sees you, you don't feel that pressure of like, fuck, I really screwed this game up. You're like, no, fuck this. All right, let's like go. Let's like run in there and like this is what I would do. So I think that is like such a great feeling.
It feels very video gamey, but in a really good way. Yeah. Of like so many times in video games, when are you like, okay, I'm just gonna uncrouch and start blasting? Like that's just a common thing that everyone does.
Yeah.
And this encourages it both in the music and in the dialogue. They want you to say fuck it as well. which I really like.
Yeah. James, do you have any?
Yeah. How do you guys feel about the depth of the level design? Like, I was incredibly impressed on the surface. You know, it looks simple. It's like, oh, you go here to here, that's it. But then as you get more into a level, it'll be like, oh, actually, you can get to this area, which goes under here, which goes over here, and it opens up so much that you're like,
that is
wow.
kind of it's a difficult thing to get over. That's why I want to impress that like a lot of the stuff doesn't matter. The game's going to guide you through the game. Don't worry about it. Yeah. But it is really cool how it's like, if I put a battery here, I can open up this door, and then that'll let me come back here at night, and then I can and you start to think.
And it's not hand holding either at that point. Yeah. It is literally like you like, oh, I saw this works like this, and then now I'm gonna do this. And especially with the batteries, like you'll
and the game it hints at it, which to me I appreciate, but I also it scared me away definitely at the beginning, where it says like, ooh, if you did something differently in the morning, this building won't be on fire in the afternoon. Kind of stuff like that made me think like, well, did I make a mistake? Should I go back? Should I restart? But no, the depth of the levels is fascinating.
It's definitely like you learn, like, because like I saw a battery one time, I was like, oh, it's a battery, and I threw it and it exploded, and I was like, oh wait, and then I realized I needed it later, and I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay, what is this battery for?
Yeah, and then you're just like, I'll remember that next time I'm here in the morning or here in the afternoon.
Yeah, and I love that, like, when you start to unlock a certain like piece of the puzzle in that level that you don't understand how it fits within the puzzle, and then you come back at like a different time of day, and they're like, well, we need like a voice recording of something, and you're like, oh shit, that's how that when I come back here in the afternoon, I got to grab that, take it to this thing, and they're like, okay, I'll do that tomorrow.
Yes,
and Ted, I don't know if you're here, but James, I wanted to see if you had this feeling of kind of towards the end of the game when you really start to like close in on your final few leads, and I felt this feeling like starting to manipulate the loop to my advantage of like, all right, I'm going to skip morning because I don't need to do anything in the morning.
I skipped started. Yeah, exactly. I think there's one where it's just like, okay, I just got to get this, skip everything, and I know exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I might be a little off the mark here, but I have recently hit the point where I have locked in the morning. Okay. I know what to do in the morning. Yes. I don't care about the morning. We're good. I skip to the midday immediately and keep going with my leads from there.
I mean, I did do some of the side stuff. So like I know like sometimes you'll have to do like side leads, which don't matter because they're not visionary leads, but they're still interesting. It's like, oh, you use this code here, you get this, and it's like, oh, cool.
Oh man, this game is a lot.
Yeah, I went after once I learned about the gold weapons. I went after every gold weapon. I was like, I want to see what all the best weapons can do.
I did not know about gold weapons.
I had a gold.
Ted,
I have not followed the weapon leads at all. There's like side quests which are weapon leads. Yes. I have not touched those at all. I've been mainlining stuff.
There are two. Well, there's one gold weapon that is just amazing.
Like necessary.
I mean, I use it all the freaking time, and it was fantastic. Yeah. Mr. Shifty, good stuff.
That's
the silenced SMG, right?
No, that's the best. That's the best one.
That's the best one.
If you find a silenced SMG, that's the only gun you'll use. No,
I use a silenced pistol. That was fun.
Oh, that's good too.
Yeah,
but it's also a shotgun in this game. I would say my one. Actually, I want to talk about this first. What did you think of Juliana invading your game? So at some point during the game, Juliana is a character that is hunting you that has a relationship with Colt, somewhat. We don't know what it is until you find out what it is. But every so often, you will be in a level and doing some sort of objective, whatever it is, and it'll say Juliana is on the hunt, and a player will invade your game. Another online player will come in and try to kill you. You as Colt have 3 lives per loop. You have a slab, which we'll talk about some slabs eventually, which are like powers. And your first one is that you have 3 lives. Eventually, Juliana will come in and invade your game, and you have to either kill Juliana or hack a satellite to open the doors again to get out.
Go to a place on the map and hack it to. Yeah.
I personally think this is the coolest and worst feature of this game at the same time.
Okay, perfect. Yep. We're in exact.
I agree.
Okay.
Yes.
When this thing works to a T, it's awesome. When it happens to you 5 sections in a row and you can't get away from like a multiplayer section, you're just like, I just want a section where I don't get invaded. I think is where it like really struggles. So what are your guys' thoughts on Juliana invading your game?
Yeah, so good.
Okay. I'm with you. It's both a really cool idea and a really frustrating idea at the same time. I think the idea of a wild card, a true wild card, a real person messing around, very cool. The whole idea of invading is great. And I really like how that's one of your objectives.
Yeah.
I think it adds a really cool weight to it. I felt that way all the way until I met a real person.
Okay.
And so I had a really bad experience, I'm not going to lie. The first, I don't know if I was playing on a slow day or whatever, Tuesday morning, I encountered the same multiplayer person twice in a row in separate instances.
Ooh.
And it was really annoying because I don't really know how Protect the Loop works, but this person was clearly pretty good at the game. And so I started, I think the first time it was in midday and the second time it was in the afternoon. And both times I was not caring about gearing up at all. I was just running around, exploring leads, just having some fun. And I came across characters, Juliana's, who were well geared, labbed up, and knew where the entrances and exits to the levels were. And so I basically got spawn camped my first time. And it sucked. Because this person had teleport and like a some kind of like force grenade, and every time I run out, she would bounce me back in and then just headshot me like multiple times, and it felt like unfair. It really sucked.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this fucking sucks. There is a way to turn it off. I didn't do that because I'm not a coward.
I did at one point. At one point, I got invaded. I texted James. I got invaded like literally 5 sections in a row, and I killed like 3 of them. But it takes like 30 minutes because you got to be stealthy.
Yeah, it takes so long.
And I texted James. I was like, I'm trying to do this one thing where like you'll get a thing that makes you like only have 1 life instead of 3. Yeah. And I was like, I keep doing this thing, and Juliana keeps popping up. So I was like, I texted James. I was like, I don't know what to do at this point. I was like, so I just turned it off. I was like, so I got invaded by like a computer, but was able to take that Juliana out.
Yeah, it's a really fun concept if you're ready for her. But if you're like me and you're kind of like just exploring the levels, it really sucked. I finally had some better times with it when I think I just went against worse people. I went against a couple of Julianas who were just kind of dumb. And they kind of tried to spawn camp that satellite that you're supposed to do, and I knew they were spawn camping, so I was able to sneak up on them. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then my most recent experience, I actually had a person with a bad connection, and that really sucked. Because they would bounce around the map and nobody could hit each other, and we were kind of stuck.
Yeah, it sucks. James, what do you think?
So I think at the start it was fine, and then as you progress and like things become a little bit more serious, it is definitely clear at some points. Like I was like facing either really really laggy Julianas, or they were like so in tune with like how to like camp the antenna that like I couldn't even get close because they had like grenades everywhere, and like they knew exactly where I was because they were like stealth sniping, and it just got really annoying. So, and then at that point I was like, why is it this annoying? And I'm just gonna like talk about like you can play as Juliana, like you can protect the loop, and I started like I play a little bit, and then I realized the way they do the connection is you join the cult, and the cult is hosting your session, which is awful because that means you're on their connection. So I joined one, and it was like Ted described, we were both lagging, just teleported all over the place, and it was awful. And like I killed them, and so it said that I lost. Like I killed them 3 times, and it said that I lost. And I was like, okay, so it needs some work. Like it's definitely like a fun idea, and when you had a perfect connection, which I did sometimes, it was really fun. Yeah. But sometimes you have this laggy Juliana that's like trying to kill you, and you're laggy, and most of the time I don't know how you guys played it, but most of the time I would hack some turrets and just put them near the where I need to like hack the antenna, and they can't. Julianas can't do anything against that, which is great. So that's your advantage there. I think is like hacking certain turrets and placing them where they need to go.
Yeah. I think at moments it adds like the perfect amount of tension when you've completed something, you've gotten something, and now you want to get back to the start, and Juliana's on the hunt, and you're like, shit.
Once you kill her, it's so relieving though. It's like, all right, great, I could do whatever I want. I got her stuff. Now. Yep, I got all the stuff.
I actually picked up like gold weapons off of a Juliana.
Me too.
Which was pretty cool.
I have a gold sniper and all that. Yeah.
I think there are some moments where it's very great. Like my final run in the final section, like nighttime on the last loop that I was gonna do, it popped up Juliana's on the hunt, and I was on a rooftop. And I just turned, saw her, shot 1 shot, hit her in the head, and I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing in the world. And I just walked away. I was like, I killed her. It was great. And then like most of the time I'm getting destroyed. But Juliana's an interesting feature. I did not play any Break the Loop because I tried a few times and it never connected me to anybody. And so
yeah, also the wait times to connect, it was like sometimes like 5-10 minutes. It was just really, really long. And yeah. What was your favorite gun again?
My favorite gun? There's a shotgun that fires slugs that is incredible. And then also the silenced SMG where you just do one soft pull of the trigger and it fires one shot. Great.
I went with a rapier the whole time. It's like a one-shot boom. I've
never used it.
Oh my! It's a fun gun. It basically reminds me of that shotgun you're describing. Like it's basically a slug that you just snipe with.
So
I like dual wielding hand cannons because I'm an idiot.
There's some great perks for dual wielding.
Yeah, I saw the perks.
Dual wielding. This dual wielding is never useful. This is might be the best case usage for dual wielding. Maybe Wolfenstein aside.
Yeah, good.
Just because when bad guys start mobbing you, like they really start coming in, and so it's kind of nice to have that extra firepower.
So you get slabs in this game. Slabs are powers, like abilities that you
immersive sim
perks.
Powers.
Immersive sim.
Oh, slabs. Yeah,
slabs. No. And each of the visionaries have a slab that if you go and you kill them, you get their slab. If you already have that slab and infused it with Residium and kept it, you'll get upgrades. What slabs did you guys use? Did you move around a lot? Did you just stay to like 2? Ted's saying no. Do you not use slabs?
I honestly, no, I did not.
You're playing this game wrong.
I know, I really am. I have not found, like, slabs were very neat when I had them, but I never really felt the need to go get them, with the exception of the blink.
It's
called teleport. Yeah.
Teleport. Yeah. That is a very useful just mobility thing, but honestly, anything that wasn't really mobility wasn't super useful to me.
I did Invis TP. I don't know, but
okay.
Or the depending on like if I knew the level, I would do TP with the one where you can you gain more health and deal more damage.
Yeah, Havoc.
Havoc, yeah, that Havoc is great for
Havoc is amazing for Juliana. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like sometimes like, oh man, I really don't want to get Juliana invaded here. I'm gonna just bring Havoc and.
Yeah, I stuck with the teleport, which I think you have to use, to be very honest. I don't. Yeah,
especially to get certain places, you need it. Yeah, certain rooftops and all.
And you need certain upgrades for it as well. Like there are some great upgrades for it. There's one that suspends you in midair, and while you can do another jump, which is like you can do some great things with that.
Also good.
And then I would use the Nexus ability, which is where you would fire and it would connect to multiple people.
I saw that. Yeah, the mind link one kind of
very good in stealth situations and sometimes for taking out multiple targets. Because you can link them up. Anytime you kill somebody, it kills the other people that they're linked to. So I thought the power variety was very fun and kind of testing out which ones fit for you. You can turn invisible. There's one other one that I did not.
Yeah, I think force push. I ran into a situation where I figured I'm not here to beat the game. I'm going to experiment with these, but I don't feel the need for any of them because I don't have my final plan yet. With the exception of teleport, which was just like, this is just helpful.
Yeah, it's just you need it.
Yeah. Like I had that thought. I got the link, the Nexus, which links characters. And I was like, this is going to be useful. Yeah. And then I was like, I'll store it for when it's useful. I don't need it necessarily right now.
Right. Yeah. The last thing I want to talk about, and this primarily adheres to James and I, the ending. And we don't have to go into details, but I wanted to know your thoughts on the ending and not specifically the final cutscene, but maybe that last loop and what you. Yeah. Was it strong? How did you feel about it? I'm kind of curious about that without diving into any spoilers.
I really liked the ending. I liked how, I guess leading up to the very last part, just going through each part of the day and knowing what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. I thought that was great. Going through the very last night couldn't have gone any worse for me.
Oh no.
But I still made it through. Like stuff was going horribly wrong. Like I was detected in front of like 30 people and just TP, invis everywhere. I was down to my last life at one point, but I clutched it through and made it. But it was like, oh god, please don't die on this last level. So it was intense because I messed up, but it wasn't like punishing. That's what I'd say. I think it was very forgiving, and I liked how things progressed. My favorite visionary. God, I can't remember his name. Like it's been a while, but it's the dude who owns like the club bar, or like he has a like radio voice. Frank.
Yeah.
Frank is amazing. One of my favorite. Like, you know, it's a funny game. Like it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
But Frank is hilarious because he'll just go on tangents on these stories, and it's just like, what the hell, Frank?
Yeah, if you're on like his level where he like constantly is talking to you, it's so funny.
Yeah,
and he keeps playing the same song over and over because he's a one-hit wonder. I think it's like such a genius idea.
He's great.
I would say I was a little underwhelmed by the final loop only because the game is very structured despite looking complex. Like it looks very like open while it actually is very structured. And I would say the ending for me was almost a little too structured.
It was very much structured. It's like, this is how you have to do this.
There isn't like multiple ways to do it. It is a singular path of how to do it, which I was like, the game for it being so open and feeling like you're really discovering stuff to have a very linear end was like, it was fine, but it was a little underwhelming to me in my opinion.
And that's what I got the feeling. This is just a new spin on an established formula as opposed to like a create your own.
Yeah.
Put the pieces together.
I think to me it gave you the illusion that like you could do whatever you want, but in reality you were just putting pieces together for the final mission, which was linear.
Right.
So
which
is great. Like I think
as someone who is not ready to put that kind of brain energy into this, I'm in for.
See, I was prepared for the brain energy. I was like, okay, I know I'll get to do this, and then I realized like once I looked through all the check marks, I was like, oh, it's checking me off this, so it's probably gonna like know exactly what to do. So I just stopped.
At the end of the day, if what they're saying is true, and this is kind of like a Hitman-inspired idea, we will see more of these in the future, and I'm excited for it. You'll get your big brain puzzle shooter moment for sure. That's coming.
I think Jake and I were going back and forth, and either strong contender for DLC or a new game.
Oh, can I? Oh shit. Okay.
Can you?
I have a prediction for the year 2022. I'll say it right now. There will definitely be DLC for Deathloop. There will be a relaunch event for when this comes to Xbox.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're definitely going to DLC the heck out of this because they're going to want to promote it when it actually comes to a Bethesda console.
To a Bethesda console?
Sorry, Xbox console.
At this point, it kind of is.
Basically.
Yeah, I would say that. And my only other kind of complaint, which isn't really a complaint because it adds to like kind of the fluidity of the game, it is a little easy. Like there are times where the game, despite Juliana, is pretty easy to run through and just
it gets easy, and I feel like even at the beginning it was easy.
Yeah.
There's a point probably where like you're like struggling, but it wasn't hard for me until the very end. That's it.
Yeah, I think. What's a good way to describe this? This game gets easier the better you play it, if that makes sense. Like the difficulty comes, like what James said, from screwing up.
Yeah.
And from investing. Like, oh man, this is a good run. As soon as you give up on the idea that this is a good run, it's easy because it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
right. It's the other side of the coin of nihilism.
But but you could get so many perks and so many even the Havoc slab that you can basically become unkillable. Like it'd be very hard for you to die if unless you just sat there for like 20 minutes. But
should we end this for some quick hot takes?
Well, one more last complaint I have is that I hate that you couldn't customize the guns. Like it's like I like this rapier a lot, but you shoot it and you alert the whole map, and it's like God, I wish I could put either get the silence perk or like have it.
Yes, I agree with this 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll list them off here.
These are your hot takes?
These are my hot takes. These are my quick bits.
Okay, let's hear them. We're gonna call these Teddy takes.
That's terrible. Please no. Teddy Grams, please.
That's better. Teddy takeouts.
I'm with you, James. This game is kind of basic.
Yes.
It uses a very simple tiered loot system of like the purple gun. It's going to be better than the blue gun.
The purple.
Plain and simple.
And there's just one gun of each type, which I thought was kind of
there's one gun of each type. There isn't customizability.
Yeah.
Which is it kind of adds that nihilism of like, this doesn't matter. I picked up this gun. I'll pick it up again. Literally doesn't matter. And I didn't really like that too much. It got boring quickly, I guess. It kind of adds to that easiness of like, well, nothing new here. These are the same guns.
Yeah, I found my like 3 guns super early on, and I was like, this is it.
I had a slightly controversial thing. I actually don't like the setting too much. And I think this is the same reason why I bounce off some Marvel movies and Jake will roll his eyes, but it's kind of like, it is borderline been there, done that, in that it's like Pleasure Island for these 8 boss characters. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, it's like BioShock. They're in a unique place doing a unique thing. And that's a personal thing. I don't mean that to say that this is a bad game, but I did kind of feel like, yeah, it's one of those.
Did you guys really attach to the story at all? Like you're like gripped by it, like his struggle.
I actually kind of did.
I was gripped by Colt and like his struggle.
I did simply because they hint at this, and keep the spoilers out of this, so you guys might just secretly laugh to yourselves. They start hinting through the notes and the read and kind of the side stuff at like, this isn't actually the first day, and like there's some stuff going on. So I actually was very interested, but they don't explain to you what this island is at all. And so I was kind of scratching my head of like, is this a science project? Is this a pleasure island? Is this a resort getaway? I don't get it.
The explanations are there.
Yeah.
But you have to dig for them. They're not presented on the surface.
And where BioShock, which is one of my favorite games of all time, gives you that right away. This you really have to dig for it, and it didn't jive with me. I didn't want to have to work for my unique flavor, I guess.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
Flip side of that though, Colt is amazing. Colt is a fantastic character. And I think I told James this last week. It strikes me that a non-white meathead character is refreshing. But no, Colt's voice actor is fantastic. I think the dialogue for him specifically is really great. It was a joy to like listen to him talk to himself and to name his gun Colt 45 or whatever.
Yeah, I forget what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, Colt Jr.
Colt Jr. Because he started Little Colt and he goes, nope, that's close to something else. Which I was like, that's a great line. Yeah, I would agree. Colt is, I think, just a fantastic character. Did you hear this funny story about the voice actor?
No.
The voice actor couldn't get a PlayStation 5, so he was unable to play like the best version of this game for like weeks. And so Bethesda finally bought him a PS5.
Oh,
and they sent him a PS5.
I wish the best for that voice actor. He did a phenomenal job doing this game. There's emotion. There's something that's not in video game voice actors. Like he brings it in a way that a lot of voice actors don't when they're being video game protagonists,
especially first-person shooter protagonists. Yeah. Any final thoughts on Deathloop? And then I want to ask a question.
Probably game of the year for me.
That was my question. Okay, cool. It's my game of the year as well.
Okay.
Any final thoughts though? My final thought is I really recommend it to. I actually recommend this to anybody. I think it's a great game that looks complex on the top, and it's easy to get.
And I don't.
Unless you have an Xbox, then we don't recommend it.
Yeah, I don't. I would recommend if you've played an immersive sim before and loved it, you should play this game. I don't know if this should be your first immersive sim, because there's a lot of like, a lot of head nods of like, we know you played these games. We know. But yeah, I really liked it across the board.
Yeah.
Like I said, thought it was refreshing. It was a much needed spin on this genre.
Yes, I would agree.
Subgenre.
James, any final thoughts? Just game of the year.
Game of the year.
All right.
Game of the year.
Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for watching the 71st episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Jake. That's Ted. That's James, and we will see you next week.